Welcome to Shaping a Greener Tomorrow, the podcast that dives into the challenges and opportunities shaping the future of the built environment within the UK. I'm Paul Terry, Managing Director at UPower and your host. We're here to uncover practical solutions, share success stories and offer insights to help navigate the evolving landscape of the house building and construction within the UK. In today's episode, we're looking at what it really takes to go beyond net zero and how one house builder is delivering homes that are ultra low carbon, lower cost to run and designed for healthier and more sustainable living. Joining me today is Oliver Luard, Partnerships and Investment Director at Greencore Homes. Greencore is known for its ambitious, better than net zero blueprint, creating homes built with natural materials, designed to passive house standards and powered by integrated clean energy systems. We'll take a closer look at how Greencore is turning that vision into reality, from modern methods of construction and reducing embodied carbon to the role of partnerships in delivering climate-positive homes that are better for people and the planet. Oliver, it's fantastic to have you here at UPower today. Welcome.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
We'll go straight into it, Oliver. I've got a few questions that we want to go through. We'll open up some topics of discussion and we'll talk through various things about Greencore, how it's all coming to life and the partnership that we have as well, and also those areas that you're going to grow into as you continue to expand.
Fantastic.
So to start us off, Oliver, can you give us an overview of Greencore Homes, and what sets you apart from others?
Yeah, of course. So Greencore are better than net zero developer. So what we mean by that, because there's a lot of people talk about net zero nowadays, and what do we actually mean by that, is we build our homes and the structure of our homes out of all natural materials that lock up carbon within the structure of the home and more carbon than we produce during the rest of the manufacturing process. So that's a fundamental difference of Greencore compared to other developers. So the panels that we build in our factory in Bicester, so we have a manufacturing side, which is our factory in Bicester. And other than that, we are a normal house builder. We build everything else on site. But the manufacturing facility builds these timber frame panels, and we also fit the insulation, and that's where the magic happens. So we use natural materials like high density wood fibre as an insulation material, as well as hemp and lime. So going back to the old school approach.
Yes, I like that. Very good.
But they have amazing properties that enable us to not only lock up loads and loads of carbon, but also achieve passive house performance from an energy performance perspective. So it's got a great double whammy.
This approach, so how does it translate into a real homeowner's benefit? So particularly in terms of the comfort, performance and also lower running costs.
Yeah, there's lots of benefits there. So the USPs of Greencore aren't just the fact that we are better than net zero. That's huge. And for a lot of customers, that's really, really important, because those options, that we're the only option out there at scale and getting to scale for that, for customers. But because of the passive house performance that we achieve as well, we're driving lower energy bills, which is obviously great for people's pockets. We also, the homes are, because they're built in factories and they're super accurate and efficient with the build process, they're very airtight. So we put in mechanical ventilation as well, which captures heat from the air that's used to make the home more efficient in that way, but it also filters the air. So they're healthier homes. Triple glazing is standard, so that's great for energy performance, but also they're really nice and quiet homes when you're inside. They're fantastic in that respect. So there's a whole range of benefits. PV on the roof that we're going to talk about. Energy generation is massive for us, so it's about using as little energy, designing homes that use as little energy as possible, whilst also generating as much energy as possible. That's the sweet spot that a range of our USPs all angle towards for the benefit of the customer.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks. Oh, that's a great overview. So beyond compliance, and from your point of view, why is it so important to focus on sustainability, quality, and also the main thing was the resident well-being?
Yeah, the clue's in the name, Greencore. It is the core of the business, being a highly sustainable house builder. That is who we are, and what we're here for. So we also, everything else is about the customer. So we've got we've got all of these bits that we've just talked about that are about designing homes and creating homes and communities that are lower cost to live in, that are healthier to live in, and that are generally a higher quality product than exists out there currently. So all of these things going to come back to a sustainability core of the business of not putting lots of carbon out into the atmosphere from our operations, from what we do, but also just making a really high quality product that's fantastic to live in.
Yeah. So I can imagine that there's a lot of going into that, Greencore, it's in the fabric as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But I suppose on any journey, when you look at creating something that's a bit extra, it does more, it's very efficient, it works well, it's comfortable. There must have been a hell of a lot of lessons that you've learned on that journey. Do you want to go through?
Yeah, the business started about 14 years ago now. So our two co-founders are still part of the business as chair and as innovation director. They started the business as a university study, so working with the University of Bath, testing all of these, fancy word, biogenic, natural, let's use that word, natural materials. Playing around with them, testing different combinations of materials, different thicknesses, etc., to find the sweet spot of, I'm going to use another fancy word here, sequestration. I haven't said that very well. Sequestration, let's try that again.
Yeah.
So to sequester carbon is to lock up carbon. So I'm going to talk about locking up carbon because I can't say the other word, it turns out. So they were playing around with these materials about how do we lock up as much carbon as possible whilst also creating a panelized build system that enables us to achieve the passive house performance. So the first learnings were very much in that kind of study phase of working that out. Then they went through a phase of working as a very small house builder, doing small developments of small numbers of houses, of 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, where they were testing the panels themselves and the performance of those. Something that's really different about Greencore that the business has been doing for quite a long time now is that we are very serious about measuring the actual performance of our homes. So those in the industry who may well know about the modelling processes, particularly with passive house, but also other forms of modelling homes, of performance of homes that developers will do at the outset. So they'll design a home and they'll model how that's going to perform. Most developers don't actually then track how that home performs in real life. So Greencore has been doing that. We measure about 25 different data streams for all of our homes. So that's every electrical system, that's how the solar panels are performing, that's the battery, that's the mechanical ventilation, all of those things. That data is fed back to Greencore with the approval of our customers, of course. We have to get approval to do that, but everybody's said yes so far. So we've got about 70 homes from previously that the data's coming through, and now we're coming on stream with our kind of first larger developments that we've been working through with you guys. With us, so there's another 100 homes of that data starting to come in for Greencore, and that will just grow and grow. So the benefit of that is that we can learn from that data. To come back of what we've been learning, we're learning all the time about how our homes perform and therefore how we can improve our designs to get the most efficient, the best performing homes that customers also love to live in. It's not just about energy energy performance. It's about the size of the kitchen. It's about the size and the configuration of the bedrooms and bathrooms. It's about everything else that other house builders focus on to get a fantastic product with the extra layer of the bits we've talked about.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. That's really good. Thanks, Oliver. I think, as you say, the lessons learned when you can use that data, there's nothing better, is there? I mean, you know, I think we're sort of, as we do it now, when we look at how we can be performing better, we'll challenge SAP. You know, we've got new HEM software coming out as well. But that, if you look at that as built fabric, if you're looking into that with a fine tooth comb as well, that's great, because I think from anything that you're going to see, anything that you're going to learn moving forward, you know that you can replicate or you can make it better for your next property.
Exactly,
which is good. So it's always that moving target, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a big one here. So you've set a goal to deliver 10,000 climate positive homes. Just tell me, how are you going to get there?
So I've alluded to the relatively small number that we're on site at the moment, the 100. Behind that, we've got about 300 going through the planning system.
Yeah.
Behind that, we are, touch wood, there's a little table here, shortly to exchange contracts on a number of other larger sites that will push our pipeline up to over 2,000 very quickly. So how do we get to 10,000? The first bit starts with me and my team. So my teams buy the land for the business and get planning permission, in short. So it starts there. And we have to build that fantastic pipeline of high quality sites that really work for the Greencore model and our brand and where we want to be located. So we're focused on the Oxford to Cam arc at the moment. And it's building that pipeline whilst the beauty of the system that these panels that we build in Vista is we've kept the process. And I say I've had nothing to do with this because this is the manufacturing team who are brilliant. Yeah. We've kept the manufacturing process intentionally as simple as we possibly can so that it's scalable. So if you come to our factory, you'll see that some of the elements are still manual because we've decided that is a more efficient way and a simpler way of manufacturing the panels than bringing in lots of extra robots. So other house builders who've gone down the modular or other modern methods of construction route have gone very tech heavy, very robot heavy.
Automated.
Automated. So it costs an awful lot of money just to get one factory set up. Yeah. And those factories tend to only really work once they're close to or at capacity because you're spending all the money up front on all the automation. Whereas we are trying to find a much more scalable model that enables us to scale up the factory processes in line with the capacity that we need on the sites. So the way it really attracted me when I came across Greencore as working at the front end of the business, it enables me and my team to build a pipeline for the business that the business can grow into rather than coming into a business that says next year we're building 1,000 homes. Where's the land, guys? How are we going to do this? So I'm a big believer that we've got a really robust, sustainable, well thought out, simple model that is the right way around. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that's good. So not much pressure on you and your team then?
No, what could possibly go wrong?
Okay, so our next topic moves swiftly into SME house builders and that around driving innovation. So why are SME house builders like Greencore able to innovate faster?
I'll just touch on the reason I joined Greencore. I was previously at a PLC. PLCs are brilliant at doing what they do. They are designed to churn out lots of homes that this country does need. They are not brilliant at innovating. So I apologise to previous colleagues who have sat in group innovation teams, etc. But they are great big tankers. And getting in innovation at a group level is one thing. Filtering that through lots of different regional offices and making sure people are doing new things consistently across a business is really hard. It is really difficult and it takes a while. When you have one small team, as we are at the moment, we're the size of a regional house builders division of 50, 60 people within the team, plus your teams on site, etc. You've got a tight-knit team, so decisions are able to be made a lot quicker. We've got all the in-house expertise you would expect in any sort of house builder, technical, commercial, land planning. That's all in-house. We all sit around the table, brainstorming, getting ideas out there. So it's that small, tight-knit, highly expert team that can make decisions quickly, informed decisions. But we're not having to filter out to lots of different regional businesses. We're not having to worry about coordinating lots of different businesses. We've got one business unit currently, which enables us to really go through that innovation process efficiently, try new ideas, learn our lessons. Sometimes you all back away and go, that doesn't quite work as we thought. And then you go again.
We had Mark White from Bargate on as well. It's a very similar story, exactly the same. But again, I think with if you look at how house building goes, we're very well regulated. So you've got things that you've got to deliver on. There's always those hurdles, but kind of that relaxes a little bit with innovation with an SME because, like you say, you're not doing it on multiple and mass, but you're doing it. It's more condensed, but there's more of a local feeling. So
and it's something that we're talking to Homes England and government about, where we've had fantastic support from Homes England, from MHCLG, across local government, people get that we're different. We're trying something different.
Yeah.
I say this to quite a few people, where I've never had doors open as easily as I have in this job. People are interested to say, "Oh, come and tell me more about Greencore."
Yeah.
From somebody who does deals fundamentally at the front end of the business, that's all you can ask for. You get to go and sit in front of somebody and talk about Greencore.
Yeah.
But the benefit of that support is huge in lots of ways, but there's definitely more, not just Greencore. There's definitely more support that we're trying to unlock for SMEs generally, as well as, because I am a massive believer in the importance of SMEs being that driver of innovation, of change, of really pushing an industry that, for reasons we've touched on, where there's lots of moving parts for building a house. It's not rocket science, but there's huge numbers of moving parts involved. So you've got to be regulated, you've got to be super organized. And one change to one part of the process can cause issues if you're not careful. So you do need to support brave, innovative companies in all sorts of ways to help them really grow. And then one of our big markers of success will actually be the bigger companies copying us. Of course. That is literally, we're not hiding anything. Anybody's welcome to come and have a look at the factory. We have a mindset of we're just going to stay ahead. And I'm sure we'll talk about future home standards. That's massive for the industry. And that for me will be it, that when we come to that topic, that will explain, I think, how we welcome change in this industry and we see it as a healthy competition that, right, oh, you're catching us up, are you? Right, we're going to stay ahead even more.
Once the larger house builder, the PLC, look at a SME and think that's worked really well. If we could adopt something like that, that's great. I think with Greencore as well, you're all very unique in the way, the standard of what you build as well, and in control of your manufacturing output and facility is completely different. And we've seen a lot of the larger house builders go down that route with the likes of Barrett Redrow with Oregon and others as well. And I think kind of having that, but when you look at your passive house, that net zero standard house, that's something that's going to be a key driver, especially as we go to those, future home standards going to be doing that as well. There'll be supplementary additions onto future home standard, solar, for example, and all the other renewable technologies, but fabric is the first approach. And that's one of the things that you take. As far as you are as Greencore, could you give me one demonstration of where you've influenced the wider sector, where somebody has looked at that and thought, wow, yes, we're going to have a look at that?
I know that we've influenced the sector already with regard to a few other SMEs I've come across. I've met some other smaller house builders who've had taken, they've looked at Greencore and thought we can do that too. So without naming names, because I don't want to help the competition, but I do. But no, there are genuine. There's some really other great smaller developers out there, Hemspan, GSA, other people. Who I know are very aware of Greencore, have had a look at what we do. They're doing their own variations, but they've taken confidence and inspiration. I think one of the big things is seeing our main investor, M&G. We're owned by a very big investment firm called M&G, who came in and acquired us just over 3 years ago now. They've invested about £65 million into the business so far. The confidence that gives to the wider industry and to people looking to start up other highly sustainable house builder type operations is massive. So that's one immediate example. Of course, the rest of the changes that I'm super excited about are in the future for us to really, like we're talking about, to really influence the other bigger developers so that we're genuinely not just changing one development at a time that we build, but by the way that we have the biggest impact on the environment and on the industry is by other people coming on our journey with us.
That's great. Thanks, Oliver. That's really good. And then swiftly moving on to modern methods of construction. So we talk about MMC quite a lot. It's not modern anymore, really. It's kind of always been, it feels like it's always been there. Depends how young or old you are. But from a modern methods of construction point of view, how does MMC help Greencore deliver fast build times while maintaining the quality? Good question. But let's pick up on the misnomer of modern methods of construction, because timber frame is the oldest form of construction and that's what we do. So it is a funny mismatch of the name to the reality. So how do we twin the quality and the speed and the benefits there? So
Within the factory, we're building very, very efficiently, very quickly. Our smallish factory in Bicester produces 200 homes a year, the panels for 200 homes a year. When they get to site, we can build the home, we can get watertight within about 2 weeks. Yeah, 10 working days, 2 weeks. Yeah. We can get a watertight box, put it that way, on site from factory to site. So we've done the groundworks, we've got the foundations in, and then up goes the panels, and you've got your watertight box. That enables you to start working inside the house at the same time as you're finishing off the outside of the house. Yeah. That's where the big time savings come in. It's 6 to 8 weeks, typically quicker than a traditional build.
Yeah, of course.
The built environment is a lot nicer for the trades on site because they're working inside a dry box rather than a leaky one, etc. So the big time savings are really there. And then from a quality perspective, the tolerance within our factory for every part of the process is less than a millimetre. So it's quite something to see the final panel of a floor go in with our system because it just slots in, and that is genuine. That's, I would say that, wouldn't I? But it is really cool to see because you can see the benefits of that accuracy from the factory coming through to quality and efficiency on site. And then from there on site, we're putting in air tightness membranes and everything else on site to really create the final product. But it's the panels that save that couple of months, helps you in wet weather, it helps you during the winter, etc. So
it's good. And I think also from an MMC point of view, you're only as good as the base that you're coming off. So I'd imagine your ground workers, the other trades on site, we're working within those tolerances are key. That drives quality and standard naturally anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, and what I've learned is throughout the whole process internally, you need to be hiring people who have a more open mindset because quite often this is different to what they've done before and they have to be open to that to learn. And it's the same with your subbies and your external contractors. You are looking for those people who can do things at scale and at a very high quality because they've been there and done it before, but also open-minded enough if there is something that's a bit different to how they're used to working in a traditional build home, they're open-minded enough to work with you right at the beginning of the process to work out how do we do this right, how do we do it effectively, and also keep collaborating through the process because if it is new for anybody and anyone who's growing a business and doing something different, you learn lessons, but we always use that phrase, you make mistakes that you have to learn from and make sure you don't make them again. And that is critical to have the right people working with you.
Yeah, definitely. And communication, that communication is key as well, isn't it? You look at anything with accelerated construction is that, you're taking some big areas off the critical path because they've been done away from site. Now you're executing speed on site with your trades working differently and quicker. So I suppose all of those stages link in quite nicely as well, but it all comes and stems from what you've got on site with your site teams and site management to make sure it's all keeping to it. That's good. I know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of. I shouldn't say that really. So you use a closed timber frame system with bio-based insulation. What are the key benefits for that?
So the benefits are the carbon savings and the carbon lockup. And the other benefit is the performance that it gives us. So that passive house performance, as I say, which is ultra low energy use. The big thing is the space heating of how efficient these homes are to heat. They don't take much because they retain heat so well. When you twin that to the solar panels on the roof and your batteries, and then it becomes really fantastic. So the carbon lockup and the energy performance are the two major benefits. And
you've kind of answered the next one there, but just to finish up with the MMC questions is, so what barriers have you faced with MMC? And if you have, how are you overcoming them?
I don't think the barriers people assume is one of the biggest barriers people assume is build cost. We've done quite a lot of work and it's very relevant for me with my team buying land. We're competing in the open market against all other types of developers. So our build cost and our revenues need to be competitive. Like what can we sell our house? How much is it going to cost us to build it versus how much do we think we can sell them for? On balance, that might be a slightly different picture to a different house builder because the product is slightly different, but it still has to be commercially viable. It has to work.
Of course.
People assume the build cost is going to be higher. What I was very pleased and relieved to see when I joined was that our build costs are comparable to other SMEs. So that's on traditional house build. We compete in the same space. the build up of those costs are different. How we get to the final answer is different because of the difference of the product. But the overall build cost, we are competitive to other SMEs in our core market. PLCs, the big PLCs are a different story. They are significantly cheaper. So we have to be smart about where we're buying land, what type of land we're buying, and who we're competing against. So we're not wasting time bidding against a PLC on a site that we think our revenues won't be that enough above theirs to close the build cost gap. So that's part of the assessment we make right at the beginning of every process to go, is there enough headroom in prices here from the demographics and the makeup of that area? Do we think the customer base would fit our product well enough for us to be able to close that gap? But so quite often we'll be looking at sites that other SMEs will be looking at, and then we're looking at earlier in the planning process as well as part of building that longer term pipeline, where acting more as a promoter, as a strategic land developer, where we can, because of the changes recently with the Labour government and the NPPF, it's opened up all sorts of opportunities that we're taking advantage of. Our USPs are even stronger at that early stage. So the big barrier, to answer your question, people assume is build costs. It hasn't been the barrier that I thought it might before I joined, but there's definitely real opportunities for us where that we can overcome any, even with the PLCs, we can start to compete and close those gaps to secure those larger sites.
The other thing as well, it's that qualification of prelim saving, isn't it? If you're off and on site, if you're on and off site quicker, then obviously those prelims reduce a lot as well. But it's also the manufacturing and the handling of the kit that's being implemented on site, multi-use of forklift, telehandlers, those kind of things kick in as well, don't they?
It's a really good point, because I always use the phrase, we have to start well. We must start well. And although my team are involved we don't build it, and we're not the technical experts either, we look at every site and every process that we go through about setting everybody else in our business up for success. Right. So how do we help them do their jobs well? How do we take the barriers and the complications out of the way that you can sometimes have in land deals and planning permissions and things? Always thinking about what we're agreeing to in a negotiation, what that means for our technical team, what that means for our build teams, because the only way you get the benefits of building at pace with our panelized systems is if you can build efficiently and consistently on site. And if you have a big services issue or anything like that, or a legal boundary issue that you weren't expecting, anything like that, you can waste all of the benefits.
Correct.
And that's obviously a no-go for us.
Topic 5, partnerships and collaboration in action. From your point of view and from Greencore's point of view, why is supply chain collaboration so critical to delivering a sustainable home?
Because we're doing things a bit differently, and we've touched on it a bit earlier about how the type of contractors, subcontractors, people that you're looking to work with through the whole supply chain. You're looking for the right type of people, but you're also looking to bring them in early in the process to give them that best chance of success too, to learn about what it is that's different about our product and what that means for their speciality. So we bring people into the factory. We do training within the factory across certain trades, carpenters, etc., to make sure they understand how best how our product really does work, and then what that means for them once they're on site. So anything that's new and innovative that requires multiple parties, you can't do it on your own.
No, of
You've
course
got to bring
not.
them in, and the earlier the better. So we all learn our lessons together. We don't fall out when we learn lessons or make mistakes, and then learn lessons from those. We learn together. We implement them as quickly as possible. Accurate, effective implementation is the key. And there's a bit of making sure that you mix a mindset of a innovative small SME with the processes, having come from a PLC background before, those ways of working, which can sound a bit bland and boring. I think one of the challenges I enjoy the most is trying to find that sweet spot of innovative entrepreneurial mindset. Let's do something a bit different, and let's create things that the market hasn't seen at scale yet. With the only way we get to scale is by having that efficiency and doing following the same process and an element of rinse and repeat on our standard house types. Just, you don't have to overcomplicate it all the time. You just have to have really, really quality standard house types that the customers love and that are easy to build and meet all the other constraints.
And I think because it goes a bit wider as well, doesn't it? So even like your warranty providers. So, you know, having them understand how this MMC kit's coming to site, how it's going to be put together, all of those things, removing any reportable items, that's key as well, isn't it? Because that can really hinder. So having all of your standard house type drawings available, but talking through those inspectors on site as well.
Yeah, and green mortgages and every part of the process, we need to bring people in. Somebody said to me yesterday, this is not my quote, but sometimes the factory can feel a bit like the Cadbury's factory. Right, we get a lot of people coming around to have a look. Yeah. It's the best. Our factory, being with the head office is in the same building, is the best tool for that collaboration, for making this happen. If the factory was offsite somewhere in a random industrial park and all of the office team were completely separate, our business wouldn't have got to where it is now, and certainly wouldn't grow as well or as quickly as I know we're going to. Yeah. It's that twinning of the manufacturing and the build expertise. It's that bringing everybody in early that is the secret to success, without a doubt. So if we fail to do that, we will fail as a business.
We will fail, engagement's key. Yes, absolutely. So you recently launched the Milton Heights development, which U-Power was contracted on.
Yeah, thank you, U-Power.
So as an open-ended question, how did the partnerships help accelerate delivery?
So I start at the front end of the process, so I'm not going to be able to give you loads and loads of day-to-day detail of how that partnership worked. But what I do know is, and touching on things we've covered slightly, which is our first larger scheme in the new world of M&G investment that we had, and going through the process and building our new team with, rapidly expanding the team in Bicester. It was absolutely critical to work with a partner like U-Power who were willing to go on the journey with us and really willing, these are new house types for us. These are the first time that we built these houses. So we had to have partners who were willing to go on the journey, which you guys have and which I've heard very good things about. That's and the end product is looking fantastic. I love the roofs. I love the PV. They're looking great. So there's clearly been a really successful collaboration between the two businesses. And then as they get occupied, and the proof is always in the pudding, and it's making sure everything works and everything's just as the customers want.
That's good. You can definitely come back on here, Oliver. So I was going to say, you've got a new site underway, so Launton in Oxfordshire, and that's including zero bills. And obviously, we always talk about zero bills because we have the octopies next to us. Can you talk us through the project, how the early collaboration integrating technologies are set to help you to deliver this is better than net zero homes?
Yeah, and to focus on the energy piece here with Launton and our first zero bills product, when I first arrived, in my previous life for a PLC, I was involved in their first zero bills scheme. So I'd learned some of the lessons from a PLC perspective, which there was lots of lessons to be learned, but we had a fantastic support network. So we went through that, and I came to Greencore with a rudimentary understanding of zero bills, the impact on standard house types and what you needed to achieve, and fundamentally a belief in the power of that product. However, when I got to Greencore, I rapidly realized there's a bit of a difference here where zero bills is a fantastic product and a fantastic brand, frankly, but it's not necessarily encouraging sustainable living, because there are caps on the energy usage, but it's not encouraging people to use only the energy they need. So there was a slight jarring there that we had to think about and work out. And the way that we're approaching that is about twinning the brilliant Octopus Zero Bills product that we're doing there, working with U-Power and our other suppliers to make it happen. We're working on a new app that will bring all the data to life that we collect, and without telling people how to live their lives, inform them of how they are living their lives. We'll have an AI chatbot type thing in there, which tells you how you can save energy and how you can save money and all those kind of things, which will just encourage people to live more sustainably whilst they've also got this guarantee of zero bills. Do you see what I mean? So it's trying to find a Greencore way of taking the benefits of this great product and rolling it out in a Greencore manner. So we're working on that, and at Launton, that's our first foray into that, which so far is going very well from what I hear. That's good. And we're really excited to get that off the ground.
Yeah, that's good. I think as well, just to add to that, Oliver, I think from a UPower, Octopus, Zero Bills and Greencore collaboration thing, for us, that's probably, again, another true test case of how everything comes together nicely. You know, what we're doing there with battery storage, solar PV, so all of that, but working alongside Greencore and you delivering this home that is above and beyond. And I think that's probably, from our point of view, as a real test case with you as our client as Greencore, is a good one.
And one of the things that you'll hear from me, and I'll make your lives probably a bit more difficult because I'm a big believer in it, is because our homes are so energy efficient, because they're passive house performance, we're already building homes that use less energy than where I was before and previous and other competitors or open market house builders building more traditionally. If that zero bills product is sitting next to us on an adjacent development site from a traditional build, which doesn't meet passive house performance standards, what we're working towards is how do we get the benefit of our fabric first approach equating to an even better offer for our customers. So at the moment, the zero bills offer doesn't include EV charging. Because our homes use less energy, can we include some EV charging within the zero bills offer that your big PLC house builder who could be next door marketing zero bills can't offer? So there's one example there. So better than zero bills, or can we ultimately get to a point that you live in a home that pays you to live there? What we call better than zero bills, right? Exactly. So that is in the works at the moment. There's a lot of work going on to see whether we can bring that to life, because that, I think everybody, is a pretty simple concept that it's pretty cool. If you zero bills is cool, a home that pays you to live there, even cooler, right?
Isn't it? Yeah. Just to close out this topic, so, and we've probably covered it, but I just want to ask it. So why is it so important that sustainability is designed from the start rather than added later?
Yeah. The fabric first approach is huge here. A lot of the industry, future home standards, everything is about adding new tech and new kit to the homes, as well as some improvement in the insulation. But it's not thinking about sustainability and carbon necessarily. It's thinking about it in the respect of once the home is built and the operational energy and how much energy that home is producing on its own merit, which is great. It's a really good starting point. The stats that I tend to try and remind people of, well, they probably never heard it before because I didn't before I joined Greencore, is that a typical new build, traditionally built brick and block type home produces 60 to 100 tons of carbon during the build process. That's the bit that we don't really talk about as an industry. That's right. That's the bit that Greencore's tackling with our panels, right? After that, once the home is in operation, a typical traditionally built home will also produce if it's got a gas boiler, and 3 to 5 tons of carbon per year on top, with zero carbon, because the way that we build our homes and the energy use and the PV, etc. So you add all that up, and then if you times that by the 1.5 million homes that Labour want to build over the form of over this Parliament, that is an awful lot of carbon.
It is.
So sustainability, carbon is at the core of what we do for those reasons.
Love that. Brilliant. Thanks, Oliver. That's great. So looking ahead, the future of sustainable house building. So how do you see the future home standard influencing the way Greencore designs and delivers homes?
I see it as it's going to keep pushing us forward because people are going to catch up a little bit. Not in the carbon, embodied carbon, we call it, the carbon lockup piece that I've talked about necessarily at all, but certainly from the operational carbon when a home is built, how much carbon is produced. It's going to close that gap. It's going to close the energy efficiency of those homes, that gap. as I said earlier in the podcast, we're pleased with that. We want the whole industry to improve. We don't want everyone else of the other 1.5 million homes to be rubbish, and then you've got 10,000 really good ones.
Yeah.
We want as many of those
Everyone
1.5 and to be improved. So we see it as a push. Like, right, how much are people likely to catch up? What are they doing? What else can we do to keep staying as far ahead as we are at the moment? So that's going to be the big push. We welcome it. We're delighted it's coming in. And then how do we take a bit of competitive edge from that and go, how do we get even further ahead?
This is quite a broad one, but what innovations do you think will shape the next decade?
I think energy strategy is huge here. And I think it's U-Power. I think it's the PVs, the efficiency of the PVs, the battery technology, air source heat pumps, all those things that create homes that generate more energy than they use. That's massive. You know, we've already talked a lot about our panels and why we think that really moves it. But I think the big innovations for me that the industry is on the cusp of unlocking, and Octopus are blazing the trail here, and we're hanging on to their, I was going to say coattails, but it's one of their 8 legs, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We're hanging on to. But that's huge, and we're at the forefront of that too. But that, for me, energy strategy, creating homes that produce more energy than they use, that's massive.
Yeah, huge. And then, what does a future ready home look like to you?
Just like a Greencore home.
Yeah. What an answer. It's like I teed that up for you.
Thank you.
Superb. Like that. So finally, if you could leave house builders and the wider supply chain with one key message, what would it be?
Come and have a look. Because I think we're already doing things that people can come and have a look and learn and would get excited about. So I'd just say, come and have a look. We're working with lots of other house builders at the moment in different ways. We're twinning up with some of the big PLCs of buying smaller parcels on their larger schemes because they see us as complementary, not competition. They think we're doing something a bit different. But we're open. Come and have a look, and let's work together to improve the industry as a whole.
Brilliant. Oliver, thank you so much. That was really good. I've learned a lot there as well, but no, it's really good to have you here, and we appreciate all the time.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. It's been a delight.
Cheers, Oliver. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you for watching and listening. This has been Shaping a Greener Tomorrow, brought to you by U-Power. Subscribe now to Shaping a Greener Tomorrow on your favourite podcast platform. Tune in and join the conversation as we inspire change to help shape a more sustainable future for the built environment.